Hey Monique, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
It's a nice Friday here. I've finished the actual real day job, so I'm stoked.
Beautiful. Are you based in Sydney?
I'm in Brizzy.
Brizzy, nice. Yeah, nice
We
up there.
we've seen you a couple of times over the years.
Right on.
Yeah, so new album is out in a week. Are you excited, nervous? Where are you at?
All of the above.
Yep.
Yeah, no, like I mean, first album. And every time I say first album, like debut album, first album, people say, "Oh, did you have Eventide?" But no, it's an EP.
Yep.
It's just categorized on certain streaming services as an album because it is slightly over, like 1 minute over like the traditional EP run time, so it goes into album territory.
Right.
But no, like we are treating this as our debut, and when you think of any kind of debut, it comes with a lot of fear um and excitement, of course. But yeah, just I think something I'm trying to sort of build myself up to is um to surrender. It's no longer my album on May 31st. It's the world's, and
Yeah.
however they want to treat it, however they want to interpret it, I will surrender to that.
I heard that exact same term last night
Oh yeah.
at a show from a very different genre artist, which was Missy Higgins.
Nice. Love Missy Higgins.
She said you literally said the exact same thing as she did. It's not
Really?
my album anymore.
Well, there you go. I love that. And I mean, I think she's got a great attitude. So yeah, it's great that I can sort of follow in her footsteps in that
Mm.
way.
And look, it's a big one for you guys. You're now coming under the nuclear blast umbrella. That's pretty massive news.
Yes. Yes,
Uh,
definitely.
how does it feel to have some heavyweights behind you in that regard?
It's really good. Like it feels really natural. Like we've sort of followed a very natural progression in terms of the moves that we've made as a band, moving from high school band, literally, like, because we all went to high school together and we started this, when we were really young, moving from high school band to small local shows to, larger capital city shows to having a management team to having an agent or vice versa. And then like it's now label time. So you know what I mean? It feels really organic for us, and it's I wouldn't change it for the world when it comes to the labels we've chosen, Nuclear Blast and Greyscale here in Australia.
Yeah,
Both have been really, really accommodating. And you wouldn't think so for such a large label like Nuclear Blast. You'd think it would be all very by the book and very corporatized. But no, like our tight-knit bubble has been still tight-knit. It's just a bigger bubble now. You know what I
yeah,
mean? We have more hands on deck. So no, it's really special. It helps us, like it enables us to be able to do so many new things, which is great.
yeah. And look, every band that's on them, there's some massive names. So you're in a big family. So that
Yes.
everyone I've heard that's on Nuclear Blast tends to talk about them like a family.
That's right. I definitely do feel that. I mean, I've already gotten so close, especially with our social media manager. Her name's Tosca. She's an absolute
Yeah.
legend. Despite the time zones, like, emailing back and forth, chatting, like we will jump on a Skype every now and then and like shoot the shit. Like it's
Yep.
great. I feel very connected to them as people, and it's all very individualized, which is really nice.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, looking at the album, it's sort of been about a year since you started the process.
More or
What
less, yeah.
what song on the album has taken the most drastic sort of change since its original demo?
Oh, that's such a great question. There's actually a couple that went through some serious changes. The first ones that come to mind are the song Keep Yourself Awake. That was a tricky one to nail. And it was still sort of, I think that was the one that came together the latest, I guess. Either that or maybe The Flower, but that didn't change in tone and style so much. That was more just like getting it across the line. But Keep Yourself Awake was one because it's like one of the more experimental tracks on the album. Um, it was difficult to nail, not only in like composition and like structure and stuff, but also in the tones and the soundscapes that we wanted to use, you know, like playing around with different plugins, and because it's quite a it's got quite a technological element to it, the song. So yeah, I think I would say that one has probably changed the most. But there's even songs like Two Steps Apart and A Spark, which had entirely different choruses up until like 2 months before recording, sort of thing. You know,
Right.
like all of a sudden something happens, we change it up, and finally we like things click, and we're like, oh yeah, we've hit it, we've got it now. And that's an intangible thing because you can't really tell when that like click is going to happen, but when it
Yep.
does, you know that it's happened.
Right. So if the band's at a stalemate in the studio working on a track, does Chris get the deciding vote? Chris, your producer, or a manager? Who comes in uh,
That
to end the stalemate?
Well, and as a band with four very different minds with very different styles of listening preferences, that stalemates do happen, and like
Yep.
conflicts definitely do happen. I mean, I'm not going to say that Chris was the one to like decide, but Chris, our producer, he played a great role in just mediation of those stalemates. Like
Yep.
he something that I learned from him is that like compromise is not the way to go. You don't want to like find you don't want to take two great ideas and find like the shitty medium and like
Yeah.
settle.
Yeah.
If these two great ideas don't like, you can't decide, you need to go for a third great idea. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like something completely different. And that's really challenging, but I think it's a really like it was a really valuable lesson to learn. And you know, it helps that we have such chemistry with him as a friend as well. He was basically the fifth member that helped, you know, like have the outsider perspective that we weren't always privy to, being so zoomed in on our own music. So I mean, yeah, I would go as far to say Chris, but not in the sense of like picking one, more
Yep.
in the sense of like, how about we do this instead, which is actually ultimately the better option, I think.
Yeah. That's the producer's job. They're there
Exactly.
to craft the songs, find the right song,
Hmm,
and guide you into the what you may not be envisioning at that point in time. So that's really cool.
totally.
Now, the terminal video. Tell me about the making of that. Where'd you do that one? It's pretty cool.
It is a really cool video. We actually shot it up near you in Brisbane. We shot it with Colin Jeffs at, I think the venue was called the Paint Factory, and it's literally what it says on the tin. It's like an old paint factory, like this massive warehouse that I think they're actually trying to like turn it into more of a music space, which is really cool. But yeah, it was just massive warehouse. They actually shot Make Them Suffer's Doom Switch there.
Yep.
It might look familiar to some people. Shout out to Colin, you know, he always knows the best places to go. And I mean, yeah, that was all I remember, like something that I remember heavily from that shoot was it was humid. It was so disgustingly humid, which is why it's so great that we managed we had the rain rig towards the end of the
Yep.
video, and like that was the last shot that we all did. We all did individual take under the rain. And oh, it was so nice, like so hot and disgusting. It was so nice to just like bathe in the water for a bit. And yeah, like I mean, I think that video, and by extension the remaining two, Killstar and Dying Light, we took a couple of steps, you know, forward in terms of our styling and our like aesthetic, just sort of the band's look. It was really like Terminal itself didn't have heaps of narrative direction behind it. It was more just like an idea of like showcasing this is what we look like. Here's Reliqa, you know, for the first time in a year or so. Totally new look, you know, like it was just a fun way to showcase sort of our maturity, like how far we've
Yep.
come since our previous record. Yeah.
And that's the funny thing is seeing you probably, I'm going to say 3 or 4 times over the last couple of years,
Mm.
it's really evident how much the band has grown. Like
Oh, well,
it's massive.
Oh, that's so good. Well, that's really, you know, reassuring because that's pretty much what we're going for. Like, we're definitely a band that likes to always be one step ahead of ourselves. And um, I like to be very, we like to wear our heart on our sleeves when it comes to like the growth. Like, you know, we don't shut out who we used to be. We keep it on display and we keep it public. Like, this is, you know, very much as much a part of our identity as the new record is. But it's really good to show people how we're like growing up and moving
Yeah,
forward. I just think that that's a fun like way to be authentic.
yeah. Now you've snagged some pretty wicked supports in the last couple of months. What are some highlights for you?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, most recently we jumped on with Hailstorm for their Knotfest sideshows. Uh
Yep,
and my God, like they're like I was I was obsessed with Hailstorm in high school. I just
yep,
have to say, like, um, I know myself and at least Miles as well, Miles, our bassist. We connected a lot over Hailstorm. You know, they were one of my segue bands, like my gateway bands into the heavy music sphere, and into making music. And while I don't necessarily like align, while Reliqa doesn't really align with that style of music as much, you know, like the very like hard rock, heavy
yep,
metal, sort of almost more glam metal style of things. Like that's not so much us anymore. I can still like I still am shocked that we had that opportunity to, you know, like it was such a full circle moment. Like one minute I'm 15 years old listening to The Strange Case of on the bus
hmm
to school, and the next minute I'm chatting with Lizzie backstage like
yeah,
each night. You know, it was just so nice. And yeah, like she's just the whole band are just the most positive
yeah,
people and we really look up to them. And yeah, I mean, if we're talking other ones, yeah, like Baby Metal was incredible, like Spirit Box last year was incredible.
yep.
All of the and it's so many female fronted bands as well, which has
Which
been
is great.
really cool. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, as a father of way too many children and four of those are daughters, um, I'm a big champion of women can do anything, especially in the music business. It's so male dominated.
Yeah.
I like to see men getting their ass kicked by female front people at any given moment. I love it.
Snaps for you. That's amazing.
So I'm gonna get you to dig deep on me. I want to hear the story behind the flower.
Ooh, you picked a good one. Because there's plenty to say about that song. The lyrics for that one just purged out of me. Like that doesn't happen so often with our music because I tend to be a bit more calculated when it comes to, which is a blessing and a curse, you know, when
Yep.
it comes to our songwriting. But this one, like it was one of those rare and special occasions where I was feeling something in a particular moment and I was able to connect those with words. Like usually, you know, that's a really difficult thing, but like it just bleh, like it just came
Yep.
out of me, you know, which was amazing. So basically the story behind that song is it's about it's sort of about self-shame and self disappointment and like disgust with yourself. Like looking at yourself in your darkest moments, in your you know, in your like latest hour and the sort of vile things that you can say not only about yourself but like to other people, and you know, sort of looking back the next day and thinking, God, what is wrong with me? You know what I mean? Like and it's all of that like dirt and just like grossness about yourself as a person that I was sort of digging through and like just sort of being really angry at myself. And so that chorus about like I wish I could get under my skin and plant a flower, it's sort of saying like, oh, I'm basically dirt, I'm soil, I am ruinous, but you know, I wish that I could manipulate that into something beautiful, you know. And you know, I that's not to say that I can't do that. Like I I look
Yep.
back on the Monique who wrote the flower and I think, oh, like, you know, be nice to yourself a little bit. But this is just that's just the nature of this album. It's like it's little snapshots of like the human experience that we've been through at any given time. So I honor that, like, now looking back and just say, yeah, like, I definitely still feel that sometimes. So it's like, yeah, I hope that makes sense. Just kind of like wishing
Yep.
that you could be what someone needs of you and be the best you can be, I guess, but just being stuck with something that you're unhappy with.
Yeah, I get a lot of angst in some of the songs on the album, and it's not like that angst. I'll call it the Facebook meme story angst, like pay attention to
Yeah.
me, I'm so sad.
Oh,
Um,
so true.
it's a what you're well for me as the listener, what you're trying to convey is, yeah, look, things might not be going the way I planned, but I think they're going to get there.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's about like having respect for those dark moments, like
Yep,
this is going to do something for me in the future. And projecting both the things you're afraid of going into the future, like if I continue down this path, what if so and so. And that's what a spark is about,
yep,
continuing down this path and ending up somewhere you don't want to be. Or the beauty of it, if I change this path, or if I continue down this path, I could end up in utopia, sort of thing. So
yep.
it's that uncertainty that we don't know, and just trying our best to listen to and honor our experiences and hope that they end up in the right place.
Love it. Now you've got a few shows coming up. How many of the new songs do you see popping into the set?
I can tell you how many end up in the set.
Great.
10 out
Wow.
of 12. Pretty
That
pretty good. Yeah.
that is hugely
we
ballsy.
we did our
Hugely.
best. And it is scary. We've cracked a few of them. Well, no, we've cracked all of them. And some are definitely more difficult than others. Shout out to songs like Dying Light and Physical. Those two songs are monsters to get through. But yeah, like we this is our first time playing this song live for people, so we just
Yep.
want to you only get your first time once. I think I said that the other day, and like that's the same for both our audience and for us on this tour. Is like you only get your first Reliqa headline once, you only get your first time playing this album once. So we're just trying to make the most of it and be honest with ourselves, and try and make this the best show possible, because inevitably we want to be able to use these songs like in the future as well. And also, like, we don't know which songs are going to be the most popular yet. We don't know which songs people are going to gravitate towards. So that's why I think we're trying to get as many songs as possible into the set, so that people can start deciding like what they like, what they want to attach themselves to, and then that can help us shape our set in the future, I guess.
Absolutely love bands that do not rest on their past.
Yeah.
Love it. And it's like you're going straight out of the gate with 10 songs. Most bands do 4, 5.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And
I
like,
don't.
I like the fact that you're not scared.
I am scared.
You're not showing it.
But
You're definitely showing it.
we are definitely scared, but I think scared, like, to be scared is a beautiful thing. Like, you know what I
Yep.
mean? Like, mate, we could come out on the first night of the tour and absolutely bomb it. But like, we're doing our best so that that doesn't happen. And also, we're a band that really likes to try and learn from every experience that we have, whether it's positive or negative. I mean, even just the other month at Hailstorm in Brisbane, we had some technical issues and like came off stage feeling like, but then a few, like, now, like, a month or two later, I'm looking back and saying, I actually learned something from that. Like, I learned that after if we have some issues like that, I should just go straight to the piano and play something acoustic. Like, now I have those
Yep.
little tools for like for the next few times. So I think it's really good for artists to be honest with each other like that. Like, look, mistakes are gonna happen. You're gonna get tired. You're gonna be disappointed with sets, but it's about like what you make of that sort of
Yep.
determines whether you're a good artist in the future, I think.
Fall with grace,
Yes, absolutely.
or just fall into the front row and hope they catch you.
Hope so.
All right, Monique, I'm going to let you go. Again, the album's out a week from today. So this will go live in a couple of days. So people, get ready. There's going to
Beautiful.
be 10 songs in the set. You're
10 out
playing
of
up.
12.
You're
Yeah.
playing up
And
here
we've
at
got room
Black
for some
Bear.
classics too. Yeah.
Well, everything is going to be a classic soon enough.
I appreciate that.
All right. Thanks so much for your time, Monique.
Thank you.
And everyone in Brisbane gets a Black Bear Lodge because it's a really cool little venue that you're going to be playing. It's going to be a sweaty little pit of people in that venue. Have you played it before?
I have. It's so much fun. I
Yep.
actually have a little bit of an exclusive for you, though. We are
Oh.
changing venue.
Woohoo!
We're going to be playing the Bright Side
Oh, great. So inside or outside?
inside.
Excellent, everyone. Make sure that you are across the change. Bright
Yep,
side
that
now.
hasn't been, I mean, that hasn't been announced yet, but it's being announced on Sunday. So hopefully by the time this comes out, you'll know by now. Yay!
You know what? I'm going to make it go live Sunday night.
Oh, perfect. There you go.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time, Monique.
Thank
Look
you.
forward
Really
to seeing you
appreciate
soon.
it. Okay. Thanks.
Bye.